What's up, y'all? Chris here to give a prediction for Ward versus Froch going down this Saturday. Finals of the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Super Middleweight Tournament. Been a pretty solid tournament. I know some people were kind of disappointed with how it dragged on some of the fallouts and stuff, but honestly, if you look at all the names involved, time and everything, we got some pretty good fights out of it. You know, fights that we probably wouldn't have got otherwise, because you know how it is. A lot of the guys in the top division, for one reason or another, don't fight each other. I mean, even if they hadn't been in this tournament, who's to say that any of these guys would have fought one another in the order that they did, let alone any of them fight Butte. The finals, obviously, like I said, Ward versus Froch, WBA champ Ward against WBC champ Froch, so $2 on the line, I believe. Ward, as far as the tournament, ran through Kessler in the first fight, in the ugly fight, beat Alan Green, and of course, in his last fight, beat Arthur Abraham. He also fought Sakio Bika during this time, but I believe that was a non-tournament fight. Kyle Froch, the Cobra, beat Jarrell, close decision. First fight, lost to Kessler, close decision. Dominated Abraham, and then his last fight was a really good back-and-forth fight with Glenn Johnson that he won. As for this one, most intriguing part for me going into the fight, aside from the matchup, is the fact that it's happening in Atlantic City, New Jersey, not California. All of Ward's fights thus far have been in California. A lot of people say he holds a lot. He gets away with a lot because of the referees, where he's fighting out of. Hopefully that's not going to be the case here. Not to say that he holds to a position of being illegal, but, you know, I'd prefer he didn't hold as much. I think it would just make his fights more entertaining than they are, which they aren't all that entertaining to me thus far. No disrespect to Ward, I'm just not the biggest fan of his style. But it'd be interesting who the ref is and how he kind of dictates the action and what takes place. If he lets Ward fight his usual style, you could probably figure that Ward's going to do a lot of hitting and holding, particularly against a guy like Carl Froch, who is a pretty big hitter himself. Also, ring size. Ring size always plays I think, a factor in these kind of matchups. You know, if you're a guy that's a quicker guy, a mover, so to speak, you don't want to mix it up as much, then I think that Andre Ward would prefer a bigger ring. Obviously, Carl Froch would benefit from a smaller ring, so he won't have to chase Andre Ward around as much. Could try to, you know, corral him in and let his hands go. As for the matchup, though, or as for the fight, you know, like I said, it's hard to say without knowing the ring size of the referee. It's hard for me to call it. Let's just say things continue as they have been for the most part. It's a relatively neutral field, both fighters they have. Then I got to favor Ward. He's really got his style down. He's got an advantage. He's already beaten guys that, you know, Froch, well, at least in Kessler, has had trouble with in this tournament. Even if he thought that Froch won that fight, he obviously had more problems with Kessler than Andre Ward did. I like Froch, man. I think he's a really entertaining fighter. He talks a lot of trash, but for the most part, he backs it up. I mean, look who he's fought in this tournament. Before that, he fought Jermaine Taylor before he was damaged good, so to speak, as well as Jean Pascal. We all know where he's at in the sport now, so Froch is definitely not one to turn down a challenge. Take on all-comer type of fighter. As says Ward, but his resume is not nearly as impressive thus far, in my opinion, as far as the names on it. But if he wins this fight, obviously he's got bragging rights. But yeah, as for Froch, he looked good in that Abraham bout, but Abraham just didn't offer anything in that fight. And the Johnson fight was a little bit closer than I thought it would be. You know, Froch just needs to Froch has got a long jab. I'll give him that. He should definitely try to use that, try to keep Ward at bay or try to catch him coming in. And on the inside, just, you know, rip your combinations off. Even if you're not landing solid, a lot of times, depending on where you're fighting and who the judges are, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, just if you're doing more work, if you're creating more of the action, so to speak, in their opinion. Especially if Andre Ward is trying to hold on and not really fight back. So, or just hold, you know, and look for the breaks and get back to his spots where he can work from the outside. So, Froch, you want to keep busy at all times. In the clinch, against the ropes, from the outside. You just want to keep busy against a guy like Andre Ward. Because even if you're not able to outbox him, you want to give the impression that you're doing more, even if you're not necessarily landing the cleaner, you know, flush shots. As for Ward, you know, like I said, he's going to use his speed, going to use his angles, probably going to hold. I can't imagine he's going to just circle and keep it on the outside and keep Froch from getting in there for 12 rounds. That's not going to happen. I do like the build to this fight. I do like the I don't know about the face-off. What's it called? I don't know exactly what Showtime's calling it, but their version of HBO's face-off. That was all right until you saw afterwards where they were all getting along. But I like that Froch said Andre Ward can't hurt him, and I believe that to be true. It'll be interesting to see if Froch can land a solid shot on Ward, and if Ward can handle that kind of power. I haven't really had to see him get hit at all flush in this tournament. So hopefully Froch can put one on him just to see how Ward deals with it. But yeah, at the end of the night, honestly, I would like to see Froch win this fight, but I got to favor Andre Ward, just from what I've seen in this tournament. So I'm going to go with Andre Ward by split decision. I think it's going to be a close one. I think at least one of the judges may lean towards Froch being the more aggressive fighter, and possibly landing. He'll probably land what shots he does land. He'll probably land the more telling shots, or the shots that may be more effective. I just don't know if he'll be able to do enough of it throughout the 12 rounds to get the win. So I expect a close fight, but I favor Andre Ward by split decision, although I'd like to see Froch win this fight because I'm more a fan of his style. But yeah, one of you guys just thoughts about the tournament in general. I think that this is the best match, regardless of the fallouts, how everything's been delayed, how there's been, guys drop out like Kessler and guys come in like Johnson and Green. I think at the end we get the best possible match that could be made between Ward and Froch. I think that's the most intriguing fight considering all how the tournament played out. And I think it could potentially be one of the better fights in the tournament. I don't think it's going to be the best fight in the tournament, but it potentially be one of the better fights. So yeah, want to hear your thoughts on the tournament in general. Do you think it was a success? What do you think about this final pairing? Do you think it's the best match that could happen? Who do you think is going to win this fight and why? And who would you like to see win this fight? That's it for now. Talked about this fight and more on last weekend's Science Fight Show. If you didn't get a chance to check it out live, you can always check it out on podcast or on demand. Link in the information about the video as always. And might talk about this fight on next weekend's Science of Violence. It depends on how it plays out. That's it for now, though. Till next time, guys. I'm out.